I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
So hello, and thanks for coming. The roll call?
Frank Myers. Frank Myers.
Here.
Jamie Bowman.
Here.
Leanne Walbogo. Here. We have a quorum.
Okay, so then next would be the approval of minutes from the 18th of April.
I move to accept the minutes as presented.
I'll second that.
Okay, I'll say aye. I skipped over it again, but then we need to do the approval of tonight's agenda. The only thing that I thought maybe since we have talked about Miss Menard's building a couple of times, that maybe we just move it up and get it over with in the new business.
I'll make a motion we approve the agenda as amended.
I second that.
Okay, so now the introduction of evidence, please. Oh, I'll say aye. Aye.
Okay. And into evidence, I entered the municipal code of St. Genevieve and the design guidelines for the National Register Historic District for St. Genevieve.
I make a motion we approve the evidence as submitted.
Second.
I'll say aye.
Aye.
Okay, so let's talk about Ms. Menard's certificate of appropriateness for an 8x8 wood prefabricated storage building with a metal roof behind the ice cream shop, but at the original place that she had talked about, not the one that we had asked her if she could move it because it was a metal building.
No, so long as it's an attractive
Yeah.
new building, it will add to the community, it won't be a problem.
And Sarah had come in and actually talked with me last week, and she said that she was going to reduce the size of the building to an 8x8 from an 8x10 where she had originated. She was going to have them put a wood T111 siding on it.
Oh,
But,
what?
that T111, that wood siding that's
Yeah.
on it. But she was going to have them put a metal roof on it.
That's what
and,
they're made for.
And instead of the big door, she said she was just gonna have a man door put on it, like the 36-inch wide or whatever size man door she can put on that instead. She does want to put this shed in the original location of her preferred choice the first time she came. And so her hope was, with going with the wood siding versus the metal building, that she, would be able to be approved for that.
Is anybody ready to make a motion?
I'd make a motion we approve the location and construction of the outbuilding as requested.
I second that.
I'll say aye.
Aye.
Okay, so now on to the new business. The first is at SGHC 16516, item 1, appropriateness for the masonry and stucco, well, let's just say 555 North 3rd Street. So if you could come on up to the podium, please.
And then just state your name.
Hi.
Julie Rousey.
Micah Rousey.
Okay, so you have a lot of information for us, but basically, we're just talking about the outside of the building. And, let's see. Are there things that we should go over individually, you think?
Well, if everyone, we can either address them individually, or we can address them as a whole based on the designs or the drawings. That's really up to you guys, however, if anyone has any suggestion on how they want to handle.
You want to do it individually, or just all together?
I mean, has everyone had an opportunity to go through like the drawings and see the changes that they were proposing and?
Yes.
I've seen what has been submitted, and I want to thank them for submitting a well-designed and documented project. It's a very important project in the city, and I'm very happy to see it come in.
Yeah, I've been looking forward to seeing what you guys do with it.
So have we.
Yeah, us too.
Thank you for taking it on.
Yeah.
That's quite an endeavor.
It is.
It's a really cool building.
Yeah, we're excited.
It is a
You know,
cool building.
We want to do right by the building. I mean, we have an interest in preserving the historic significance of it, and the changes we want to make, for the most part, are restoring it back to what it was originally,
Yeah.
and reversing some of the changes that have happened in the past decades to make it appropriate for building cars in there, or
Like putting that doorway back.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Should I go through all of these?
I mean, only maybe if anybody has any questions, would be, I mean, these were just the things that I had pointed out when we were the diagram ones that where everything fell, and
Because there are a lot of things to
there's
go
a lot
over.
of things to go through. And does anyone have any questions?
No, I've read every word of it, studied it, and it looks like a well-thought-out project and well-presented. So maybe some very minor things come along during the project, such as sign design, and that they may want to go to the city just to get the final design approved, but there's no question they'll need signs, and they've said they need signs, and that they'll, I assume they'll bring them in for review. The construction seems to match everything in their guidelines. The one note I noted was which in most historic preservation projects, as I know, is sandblasting, but I understand that that's been approved by the state. So,
There's a certain water pressure you can use. It shouldn't be.
Yeah, water.
Yeah, they shouldn't be doing sandblasting.
Water, high-pressure water is
Yeah.
controlled is fine.
Yeah, and that's, we won't be doing sandblasting. It'll be
Yeah, just
water
the
pressure.
terminology
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's a water pressure
popped
wash,
out
but
of the
there's
text of it.
There's a
a certain
specific
pressure
pressure.
that you can
Yeah.
use
Yeah.
to maintain historic, and that's what the state has approved, and that's what we'll be using.
Yeah.
Well, so for my commission, do we want to go through and talk about the walls and the doors and the windows, or do we just want to approve it as stated?
My recommendation would be to approve it.
Yeah, everything that I have
I
read in
mean, we
here
have like
looks good.
mega detail that we normally do not have, and it's awesome, but I just didn't know if we needed to clarify.
Well, that detail was required by the state and federal government to maintain,
I want to get a building
To-
permit eventually.
and to get the
so
building permit, yeah, so.
We'll have
Oh, I
to
see.
do that
Okay.
eventually.
Yeah.
So.
Okay,
And it helps having an architect on staff.
I would imagine. And by the way, it is super cool inside too.
Oh, thanks.
And that doesn't have anything to do with us. Okay, well, does anyone have any more questions?
It's all looks quite clear for the intention, and I'm good with that.
Is that a motion? I'll second it.
Oh, well, we need someone to
Oh.
make a motion.
I move to accept the entire project as stated.
Okay.
Or
Does anyone
this.
second that?
Second.
All say aye. Aye.
It's nice when we get a big project and it comes in so well documented that you don't have a lot of
Perfectly explained.
questions.
Yeah,
Yes.
thank you, I mean, we
Yeah.
normally
Thank
do
you.
this easy, so
Very
thanks.
well put
Thank you
together.
for coming in.
Yeah, and thank you for taking it on. Yeah. Yeah.
Yes, most any questions that I had are, it's all here.
Oh, I lost my paper.
We aim to please.
Okay, so then we're on to item 2, which is at 152 Ziegler Street.
Yes.
Would you like to come up to the podium, please? You can go up this way, it's fine. Sorry. Thank you. Hi.
Hello,
Hi.
Donna Marler. I actually live at 649 St. Mary Road. And I'm simply requesting that I have vinyl windows at 152 Ziegler, simply because I feel that in order to maintain the property, I need to use 21st century materials and improvements.
So, I guess it's just the windows that you're looking for right now?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. I guess the only question that I had was, are you able to get the 3/1 like were originally in the house?
I did not look into that. I'm simply interested in preserving the property with 21st century materials.
The 21st century material, I certainly understand, but to maintain it, at least the appearance of the historical values of the house, it really ought to at least look the same as the historic front.
I don't know what that means, miss.
Well,
Well,
if there were 3/1 to begin with, then to go with the guidelines that we are supposed to comply with, the replacement window should also be that 3/1.
the building is a contributing building to the historic district in the city of St. Genevieve. I recognize that it needs maintenance. Many of the buildings in town need maintenance. And what you had done with the front porch is really to be commended. That makes a marked improvement on the appearance of the house. But the windows are so much of a radical change to what was there in appearance. And
Well,
our guidelines, which we as a committee are issued and told these are the city policies, you should follow them. They call for the windows to be similar to the windows that were there, at least in format. And these are entirely different in appearance than what was there. And it changes the entire historic appearance of the structure.
well, as far as I'm concerned, that is not true. You see that, but no one else does. Absolutely. Only
I
the-
see what is in our guidelines,
Yes,
Donna. We are supposed to make our decision based on those guidelines.
Okay,
And if you own as many properties as you say, it probably would be wise to get a talking acquaintance with those guidelines, because there are requirements that are going to come up with any project that you attempt. And I'm happy that you are doing the project. And hopefully, most of them can be just straight repair and come in, and you don't even have to come in front of this commission. But when there is a change from the existing structure, as indicated in the guideline, then it does have to come to us, and our instructions are written out in a very detailed guideline. And one of them is that when a window or door replacement is necessary, match the replacement to the original design as closely as possible. A newer replacement or window or door should match the appearance of the original. Those are written instructions to us. And we try to be as liberal as we can in enforcing those, but what you have installed there in no way looks like the old windows.
I'm sorry you think that way, because to me, they look exactly the same. I see no difference.
Well, the
And all of
grid
the
work in
windows are covered with storm windows anyway, so who sees them?
Anyone that drives by and looks at it.
And sir, nobody knows the difference but very few folks in town. Most houses, even though they have the windows you like, have storm windows over them, so it doesn't seem to make much difference. I mean, we live in the 21st century. We don't live in the 18th century. And the house, as far as I'm concerned, needs the improvements of the 21st century to make the people that live in it comfortable. They have no interest in the 18th century designs. So I have to maintain the property that makes sense to me. And you have your guidelines, but I think I have my guidelines too. And right now they seem to be in opposition.
Okay, we're trying to follow what has been set with us, and mainly it's the looks of the outside, and that's what we were talking about with the 3 in the top part of the window and the 1 in the bottom part with the full grid in both. It just adds a lot more busyness to a more simple house for that time period. And with the vertical log home across the street, that's why it's a contributing building. I understand the way you feel. We can make our vote on it and then just go on to the next process, because we will be doing what we should by the guidelines. And I think that would be the easiest step for us, so that we don't have to be upset. So would anyone like to make a motion?
I move for denial of the application at this point.
Anyone second that motion?
I'll second that.
All say aye. Aye. And then your next step is to just go to the Board of Aldermen, and it seems to be working for some people. I'm right there with you.
So do we just show up at the meeting, or do we need to make this?
You talked to Carla, I believe.
If you just give a letter to me or to Pam, and just requesting to be on the docket for the next, or the agenda for the next
And
board meeting.
is that next week?
That is
The 26th.
the 26th, yeah.
Okay, thank you.
I just think that's the easiest way for us to take care of that. Thank you.
Okay.
And as long as I have that letter by next Monday,
Yeah.
then we can get it on the agenda for
Okay.
next week.
Thanks.
Yeah.
Good night.
Thank you. Thank you. Okay, and then our final item of new business is 187 South Gabourey. And it looks, I don't see the Schmelzleys.
Goose came in with, which I supplied in your packets, the information that he's wanting to do. He said that there's vinyl windows on the first floor of the building. There are wood windows on the second floor in the dormer. He wants to replace the second story windows with vinyl windows to match the downstairs. He wants to remove the asbestos siding that's on the house, put vinyl siding on the house, remove the vestibule on the front, the addition on the side, the wheelchair ramp that's been added to the side, and put porches there in place of that. And I had called Rosie, and they sent over the drawing of what their proposed plan is that they're wanting to do to the outside. I had also asked her about shutters, and because it showed shutters in here. Oh, and there is one other thing that they're wanting to do is if you're looking at the drawing here, of the new drawing versus the picture, there is a window.
Why do they want to do that?
He's wanting to update the house. This house is a contributing building. It is circa 1940. However, when I included in your map, there is a Sanborn map in 1945 that it's not on, which means it's after 1945 even though it's a circa of 1940.
Yeah.
So, but, as far as the age of the house, it's a little newer than what it's showing. But that's just for your information and your considerations.
I would like to find, I know the recommendation of the staff is denial, but in this one, I'd like to find a way to go along with it.
Okay.
But vinyl siding on that particular building, it's sandwiched in between two landmark buildings, or potential landmark buildings, at least they've been nominated. The Kill Swent House and the other Valley House, both of which are very close proximity to it. And in a historic district, I mean, I'm not saying this thing has to be overly done, but it should be compatible with those two very important structures. There's several little things. One, it's very close to the street, which is not out of bounds so long as both the property owner and the city knows where their boundary is. And if you put much of a porch on the front and much of a step to get to it,
It's gonna be in the
you better be sure you're doing it on your own property.
Right.
That can be worked out. But what I would like to see if he could consider these things. One, remove the asbestos siding, which he wants to do. If there is siding under there, wooden siding, original wooden siding, then that should be repaired. If there is not, I would say then go ahead with the vinyl. Not as a first choice, but only if there is no other siding
What
under
about
there.
that cement
But if there is wooden siding, what?
What about the cement board?
If it's cement board under, or?
No, instead of vinyl.
Well, cement board would be an improvement, granted. What I don't like with that particular building, and it's really not our business, but the building is rather a strange, ugly little building. And one of the problems is there's asbestos siding is so wide that it makes the building look bad. A neat, narrower final board on it would look much better. The other thing, the porches, I can see why he wants to get rid of them. The handicap ramp, no problem with that. But the things that I think he needs to take a little better look at and to see if what he can come up with for siding other than vinyl. Hopefully, there's original siding under it. If not, then propose something different. Windows, we should go by the book on the windows if we can. I think he only wants to replace the second story. And see if we can't come in with something on that.
Is there 4 sets of windows or 3?
He said all of his.
I don't know what the back of the house looks like.
Yeah, I'm not for sure what,
Is there a dormer on the back of the house also that he's
I don't
wanting to
believe so. I think it's
replace?
only a south-facing dormer.
He's gonna replace those with the windows shown here, the 3/1?
No, I think he's wanting to replace them with what's.
Just as
what's-
is.
Yeah, what's downstairs, with the same as what's downstairs, which is a 1/1.
Yeah, I still don't understand the taking out the one window of the pair, because if he puts in the more narrow,
Well, if you look at the
Siding.
drawing.
Probably has something to do with the interior
I would-
arrangement.
probably,
Well, if you look
but it
at the.
unbalances it to take one out and make it smaller, the way the drawing is.
And that's true, but when you look at the drawing versus the window here, or the picture, it appears as though the left-hand,
It is smaller already.
and it appears that the left-hand window would be possibly into the porch that he's wanting to add. Because the vestibule that's there currently is offset slightly.
That's quite a ways from the porch he's wanting to take, or the vestibule
Yeah,
he's wanting to take off.
the right and the left are not identical.
No, they're already a smaller set, but to take one of the smaller set out, that's, I don't know, just looks unbalanced. I do like the proposed porches better than what's there, definitely.
What is proposed is a better looking structure than what is there. And I think our job is to try and find a way to get there.
Would they take out that little concrete, whatever that is, porch that's under the front vestibule, or would they just take that out and build the porch on top of that? As
They
Frank
don't
was
have to
saying,
take it out.
if they move that out any, that's gonna get into the city right away.
Sure. Yeah, and I mean, and there'll be permits and things like that that'll.
Oh, yeah.
Be issued, and drawings showing the detail of the porches that he would be wanting to do. I think it's just, at this point, we would just,
Just to allow the vinyl siding and the,
clarification one way or another.
well, I agree with you, Frank, that if there's something else under there that could be used instead of the vinyl, I'd rather that myself.
Well, I mean, that's our slope that we're always on, is that dang vinyl siding, vinyl windows, whatever.
Right.
And it's by
Well,
quite a few
Well,
houses. that are-
asbestos siding was yesterday's vinyl. I mean, that and asphalt shingles on the houses. I mean, they were sold as cheap, economical ways to make a house look better. And vinyl does that today, and 10 years from now, there'll probably be something that'll make vinyl obsolete.
Well, is anyone ready to make a motion on as it's presented? Do we want to do separate things, or,
well, I would think maybe separate things to go ahead with the windows and replacing both the vestibules with porches, but maybe a recommendation to see, as Frank said, what's underneath the
Okay,
siding
well,
that's there.
Okay, then okay.
Well, since he did not show up to support the project, let's ask that he do look at it very carefully, taking some of our suggestions, see whether they're possible, and come back in with a revised project, or come back
Okay.
in to defend what,
So can you
what
talk
he
to him
has.
about those things, and then he could come back?
And so the things that I'm going to ask him to possibly revise or to reconsider are the vinyl siding to the house, to see if there's anything underneath of the asbestos siding. If there is, to see if it is repairable and reusable.
Now, the guidelines clearly say, I mean, if you remove it, and your recommendation is to repair the old siding and go with it. Now, that's fine if there is old siding there. If there's not old siding, then you have to put something on. He doesn't want asbestos, so come in with a suggestion other than that.
Yeah,
Well, with most siding projects, you take off what's there. If it's not salvageable, then, yeah.
Do you want him to, if there's not wood siding underneath, do you want to approve the vinyl siding? Or,
I want to review the project
Again.
with him.
okay.
Because we're making a mishmash of the project, and he's not here to defend what it's come in. It'd be nice to talk to the people and
Okay.
see if we can't come to some type of an agreement that's consistent with our guidelines.
Okay, so then at this point,
oh, yeah, even the windows are different. Different types, 1/1 versus 3/1.
okay. So, something will either approval or denial or something else.
But I don't know what the proper motion would be. Perhaps a motion to table and reconsider when the project has either been revised or the applicant wants to defend
Okay,
it.
so does somebody want to make a motion to table it then?
Motion to table the application pending further discussion and information.
Is there a second?
Second.
I'll say aye. Aye.
The question I have, if this is post-1945, which the maps would show, how far back does our jurisdiction go?
As of this point, if it's a contributing building, that's what we cover.
Okay, because I
Well,
think there
if
was
it's-
some discussion of,
Well, if it's in the historic district, if it's a contributing building, even if it's not a contributing building in the historic district, it is,
still under the jurisdiction of the
or if it's a land commission.
commission. Okay.
Okay, so we've been through all the new business. Are there any public comments? Yes, sure. And do we have a motion to adjourn?
I motion that we adjourn the meeting.
Second.
I'll say aye. Aye.
What date is next month's?